Today we're going to wind down the week with a couple of polls. We've got New Hampshire, but first we're going to do this poll out of Illinois from Emerson. They've got a couple of big races coming up this year. It's the Senate and it's governor. Pretty blue state, not expected to be competitive, but the primaries could be interesting. Let's get down into it. In the Senate, it's an open seat. Dick Durbin, he's retiring. There are a plurality 46% that are undecided with the Democrats, but Rajna Krishnamurthy is in the lead at 31%. Seems like he's been out there trying to make a name for himself, and he's way ahead of everybody else. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton is at 10%. So he's been the front runner. It looks like that's going to stay the same unless there's a lot of movement here as that March primary approaches. The sample size for the primary here is 568 voters. Now, Raj's support is mostly coming from voters over 50. That's 42%, and male voters are at 41. 49% of women are undecided. So always an opportunity for some moving pieces there. We'll see what happens. What about on the Republican side? Well, this is pretty stunning. We've got 84% are undecided. That's almost everybody that has no idea who any of these candidates are and who they might vote for. I don't even really know who they are myself, but Don Tracy's in the lead with 6%. It does seem like whoever wins that is going to be the sacrificial lamb, as the Dems are overwhelmingly likely to win that seat. Now for governor, we've got Pritzker running for a third term, so not really any action on that side. On the Republican side, again, we've got a large chunk, 46% are undecided. But the front runner right now is the nominee from back in 22, that's Darren Bailey. He's at 34%, way ahead of everybody else who's in single digits. Now, Bailey, I think, was too Trump-friendly to win in this blue state. I know he had some family members killed in a helicopter accident, but he's trying to run again. It looks like he could be the nominee, but in the general election, I don't think he's going to have much of a chance. Now, voters could always get tired of their governor running for a third term, like Pritzker. But down here, this says something else. His approval rating is 51%, 42% disapprove. That's among primary voters. But Trump is at 39 approve and 55 disapprove. So either way, Pritzker not looking bad here, at least with Trump at the White House. If it was Harris in there, it could be a completely different story. Pritzker might not even be running again. But as for how much sway Pritzker's endorsement of a candidate might have, only 24% say they'd be more likely to support a candidate he endorses. 38% are less likely. 38% also say it's no impact. So not a lot of sway there from Pritzker. With the Trump endorsement, 29% say they'd be more likely to back his candidate, but a big 52% are less likely. 18% say it has no impact. Dems are hoping that Republicans nominate the most conservative challengers. That should give Democrats an even easier path to win in the general. Now, as for the most important issue facing the state, it's the economy at 40%, then healthcare at 13%, and threats to democracy. Immigration comes in at 10%. Both sides generally agree it's the economy, but after that, Democrats are way more concerned about healthcare and threats to democracy. Republicans are concerned about crime and immigration. And there's a little bit more here about some local issues. But how about this one? Nearly unanimous. 94% of primary voters think it's important for candidates running for office to participate in a debate prior to the November election. That confirms that everybody likes a debate. They think it should happen, so let's hope it happens in every state, in every major race, period. So the sample size here was 1,000 voters, and of course you could click here to get some of the crosstabs. We're not going to go way into that. We're going to move from Illinois, and we're going to go into New Hampshire. This state also has a Senate and a governor's race, but Trump is seriously underwater in the Granite State, with 603 registered voters. Trump is underwater by 22 points. That's 32% approve, 54 disapprove, and that puts Democrats ahead by 11 on the generic congressional ballot. So those are weak numbers, and this is technically a blue-leaning state on a federal level. Only a 32% approval rating. That's not good at all. And if the Democrats are ahead by 11 for their party preference on control of Congress, that means Dems would easily win both of those U.S. House seats as well as the open Senate seat. Now, of course, none of this is a done deal, but it's going to be an uphill climb here for the Republicans. There's no doubt about it. Now, outside of the federal level, at the state level, Governor Kelly Ayotte is a Republican, and she's more popular than Trump. It's down from last July, but she's at 38% approve, 32.5% disapprove. Another 29% have no opinion. So she is above water, but it's not overwhelming. I think she's kind of carved out a more moderate path, which is what you've got to do as a Republican statewide. She did not want to go in on redistricting. She vetoed some bills that some of the base Republicans might like. So if she loses some hardcore Republican voters, she's going to probably gain some back with independents, maybe even a couple of Democrats. It is more of a unique state politically. Now, what about the party preference control for state government? Well, that looks much better here for Republicans. They're at about 41%, Democrats at about 40. So Republicans have a trifecta here. They want to hold that for sure. This at least makes it competitive, and they could end up holding on. Now, what about in the U.S. Senate? Well, it is an open seat. Democrats look likely to have Chris Pappas as their nominee. He's in the U.S. House. Republicans look like they had Scott Brown, but then former Senator John Sununu looks like he's getting in. Sununu seems to be a stronger candidate than Brown. Pappas leads Sununu 42 to 36, so he's still way under 50%, but against Brown, he leads 46 to just 28. Again, if Harris had been in the White House, then I think Republicans could stand a reasonable chance at flipping the seat or making some gains in this state. But with Trump in there and his approval rating's pretty low, even though the Democrats' brand is damaged, they seem to have momentum, and in this kind of blue-leaning state, I'd be pretty stunned if Republicans somehow managed to flip this seat. It's kind of early, we'll see what happens. The top issue in the state is the cost of groceries and other basics at 30%. Second place is the cost of housing. Now these are all pretty much cost of living. They don't really address any other different issues. So there's a little bit more here, but that's pretty much it for what's going on in New Hampshire. When you lose the White House, usually you're going to feel pretty good about making gains and off your elections in the next midterms. That's exactly what seems to be shaping up here for the Dems. We still got a lot of months to go. I would think Trump and the Republicans are going to do something so they don't get completely wiped out. But you never know what's going to happen. That's it for now. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about any of this polling in Illinois or New Hampshire? Do Republicans stand a chance at flipping any of these seats? And is anything exciting going to happen in either of these primaries? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.